ON TV's Game of the Week is underwritten by LOHS Palace Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, servicing Lake Orion's automotive needs since the 1960s. Jets Pizza, offering pizzas, subs, salads, and wings with 2 convenient locations in the Orion area. Camp Bow Wow, providing a fun, safe, and upscale environment for dogs to play, romp, and receive lots of love and attention. Be Zany, fun hats, costumes, toys, and party supplies for every occasion. And Classic Lanes, your home for family fun and family entertainment in Rochester Hills. Pregame is brought to you by LOHS Palace Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 3800 South Lapeer Road in Lake Orion. LOHS Palace has been servicing Lake Orion's automotive needs since the 1960s.
The winds of autumn have arrived. It's week 8 of the high school football season, and that only means one thing. Lake Orion and Clarkston, we've got it all for you here on Orion Neighborhood Television. Good evening, everyone. With Chris Frisching, I'm Doug Corliss. It is week 8. It is Lake Orion Clarkston, and this game's got some big ramifications, Chris. Is this a do-or-die game for the Dragons?
Well, first of all, there's no question about it. I mean, they're currently coming in at 4-3, and certainly a loss doesn't help their cause. You know, the chances of them making it, if they were to go out and win the next week, at 5-4 is a little tough in terms of the teams they've beat to this point in time. You know, their record is 7-21, so they haven't beat teams that have really, you know, are going to produce a lot of playoff points for you. Certainly, if you come in here and beat, you know, a high-ranked team like Clarkston, and which would produce a ton of playoff points for you, certainly that's going to help your cause. So, in my estimation, yes, there's no question it's a do-or-die situation for Lake Orion. They've got a lot of things going against them in terms of, you know, it's a good football team. Obviously, they won the state championship at the Division I level last year. They've won 20 games in a row, dating back to last season. So it's a big game for both sides, because at the same time, you know, Clarkston's looking for playoff points as well, to try to establish, you know, potentially for them hosting multiple games within the playoffs. So it's a big game in terms of that playoff points and so forth. It's also a big game because it's flat out, it's Lake Orion Clarkston.
Clarkston comes in for the last couple of years. They had the huge offensive line, and they pretty much handed it to running back Ian Erickson to carry the load. He's moved on. The offensive line's moved on. They've got more of a balanced attack now under the leadership of quarterback DJ Zazula.
Right. You know, they're balanced, they're potent, they're multiple formation looks. You know, Zazula can run, he can throw. I mean, there was a time a couple years ago when Clarkston, you know, in fact, a couple of games, a couple years ago against Lake Orion, Clarkston only threw the ball one time in a game. Well, they're putting the ball up 19, 25 times a game and so forth, because Zazula can do it. You know, the wind is such tonight that it's going to be a factor in not only the passing game but the kicking game as well. So we're gonna have to see early on how that affects both sides of the football. You know, but that being said, they're well balanced on both sides of the football. They average 39 plus points a game. You know, and so they can certainly score points. They've given up a number of points this year. They got into a shootout with West Bloomfield this year and won 55-41. So they can give up points. And, you know, Lake Orion's got to take advantage of that situation and do the best they can to keep that Clarkston off the field.
As we talked about, the playoffs are still a possibility. And with the log jam that's over in the white division, we really don't know who we're going to play next week in the crossover. So yeah, this game and really next week mean an awful lot for Lake Orion's chance to get a playoff berth. And I was thinking this year's freshman football squad has never known a year that Lake Orion has not been in the playoffs. So there's a lot riding on the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely, and, you know, and hopefully we can change that tonight, you know, and when it's all said and done, you got to live in the moment. You got to live in the here, and you got to live in the now. And let's take care of one quarter at a time, win a quarter at a time, and hopefully at the end of the game, you know, the results are in the Dragons' favor.
It's Lake Orion Clarkston. Anything can happen. The wind may be a factor tonight, and we'll have it all. Stay with us.
For sale from the Dragon Wrestling Program. Proceeds support the Dragon Wrestlers. We'll draw the winning number near the start of the fourth quarter. This is the last 50.
Pregame is brought to you by MHSAA Palace Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 3800 South Lapeer Road in Lake Orion. MHSAA Palace has been servicing Lake Orion's automotive needs since the 1960s.
I need help.
We can't survive without heat and water.
Oakland County Community Resource Day, November 19th.
I'm homeless.
How do I get health insurance?
I'm getting evicted.
Stay safe this winter. For help with housing, state IDs, eviction, and other critical issues, come to the Oakland County Community Resource Day. There is help.
Our first quarter of action is underwritten by Jets Pizza, offering pizzas, subs, salads, and wings, and more with 2 convenient locations in the Orion area. Jets Pizza, a proud supporter of ONTV since 2009. Camp Bow Wow, located at 6374 Sashabaw Road in Clarkston, your premier doggy daycare and overnight facility. Check them out on the web at www.campbowwow.com/Clarkston. And Be Zany, Party Warehouse, offering everything from fun hats, costumes, toys, and party supplies for every occasion. Located at 3970 South Baldwin Road in Orion Township. Be Zany is your home for everything party. Our scoreboard this half is brought to you by Camp Bow Wow, your premier doggy daycare and overnight facility. Check them out on the web at www.campbowwow.com/Clarkston. Replays are underwritten by Jets Pizza, servicing the Orion area with 2 convenient locations. Jets Pizza, a proud supporter of ONTV since 2009.
Just before kickoff, Lake Orion and Clarkston. Clarkston comes in with a record of 7-0, 6-0 in the division, while the Dragons are at 4-3, 4-2 in the division. Clarkston is coached by head coach Kurt Richardson. He's in his 28th year, 211 and 79 overall. In the regular season, he's 188 and 64, 23 and 15 in the playoffs. Clarkston won it all, Division I state champion in 2013, and that was after 3 trips to the semifinals. Coach Bell, of course, in his 17th year, 140 and 47 overall, won a division championship or a Division I state championship in 2010, and Coach Bell's records 22 and 14 overall in the playoffs. This series started, they met once in 1951 and then have been a regular on each other's schedule since 1977. Overall, they've had 46 meetings, with Clarkston leading the overall series, 25 wins to 21 losses. The Dragons and the Wolves have met 4 times in the playoffs, tied at 2-2. They met in 2005, 2006, 2009, and 2011. Chris, you got your keys to the game tonight.
Yeah, I think number one, defensively, we talked about the Clarkston offense averaging 39 points a game. Certainly the defense, Lake Orion defense, as young and as it is, needs to contain DJ Zazula, the quarterback. He's 100% healthy. He had a couple knee surgeries last couple years. It's made him 100% healthy. Last week against Troy, he was 11 of 18 for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing. They also have to contain Centris Williams, who carried the ball 6 times last week for 3 touchdowns. Pretty good ratio there. And then also Nolan Erickson, who is Ian Erickson's brother, carried the ball last week for 8 times for 112 yards and a touchdown. You know, Zazula is a kid that can certainly throw the football. His second play of the game against Troy Athens 2 weeks ago, he ran the ball 52 yards for a touchdown. So he's certainly got the versatility to be able to do so. Secondly, Lake Orion's got to control the ball, certainly keep their offense on the field. They run the ball 89% of the time. So the ability to get the ball to Matt Krause, who's got over 1,400 yards on the ground this year. He's averaging 7.7 yards a carry. And get the ball to Zach Surzo, who has also got over 500 yards. He's averaging 11.4 yards a carry. Those are phenomenal averages, and you got to get them the ball and keep that Clarkston offense off the field. The third one is we talked about at the outset. This wind is going to be such that it's going to have a major factor in terms of special teams, both the kickoff and the punt teams. So how is the wind going to play a factor? And whoever can win that battle of field position, I think is going to have a chance to do things successfully. So those are my keys to the game tonight. Let's watch out for those.
We'll take a. We probably won't, because they're going to start the national anthem pretty soon. So while we're waiting, we will tell you that DVD copies can be purchased by calling ONTV at 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060. For only $10, you can get a copy of not only this game, but any game or program in our broadcast vault. DVD copies, 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060. We will pause right now as Director of Bands Michael Steele takes the podium, and he will lead the Lake Orion Marching Band in our national anthem.
And please welcome to the podium, Walden Middle School Director of Band Annette Klein, as she leads the Dragon Marching Band and the combined 8th grade bands in the Star-Spangled Banner.
That will be corrected. That was Walden Middle School Director of Bands Annette Klein leading the marching band in the national anthem. We'll take a look at the OAA Red standings here before kickoff. Clarkston 7-0 overall, 6-0 in the division. West Bloomfield 6-1 overall, 5-1 in the division. They play at Stony Creek tonight. Oxford is 5-2 overall, 4-2 in the division. They're at Bloomfield Hills. Lake Orion 4-3 overall, 4-2 in the division. Stony Creek 4-3 overall, 3-3 in the division. Bloomfield Hills 2-5 overall, 2-4 in the division. Troy Athens 1-6, 0-6 in the division, and Troy 0-7, 0-6 in the division. And Chris, I think if you had to look at a team in the division that is kind of a disappointment this year, it'd be Stony Creek. I think they held a lot of promise coming into it, and they're just having what we call an average season.
The average season, yeah, they've been solid the last couple of years, and there's been a couple surprises of that, and I guess I didn't expect West Bloomfield to be as good as they have been, and so forth. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect the Dragons to be 4-3. So when it's all said and done, that's why you play the games. That's why you work so hard in the off season and the preseason. That's why you play all 9 games, because you just never know what's going to happen.
Lake Orion will receive number 7. Merritt Canada will kick off. High end-over-end kick coming down to Jalen Wiggins on about the 5. He's up to just over the 15. Ball's out. Clarkston saying they have it. And they don't. Lake Orion will take over 1st and 10.
Well, you could see, right there, Clarkston kicks it high, and Wiggins is trying to move and maneuver under that football. It's waving and flopping every which way in that strong wind. Difficult ball to catch, and again, like we said, that's going to be a huge factor in tonight's game.
I think it was number 17, William McDonald, on that kick return. So Dragons take over 1st and 10. Number 16, Max Horneffer, is the quarterback. Kraus is the lone setback. Surzo split in a slot right. Motion coming back, Kraus on the carry, and he's met at the line and dropped. Number 44, Carter Linton, on the stop, and he stood Matt Kraus right up and dropped him.
Yeah, he did, and Linton's going to be a kid that we're going to hear a lot of tonight. You see him coming from his middle linebacker spot and just, boom, stonewall Kraus on the little dive play.
Giving him they're calling it no gain. Looks like he lost about a half a yard, so we'll call it 2nd and 10. Just underway here. Lake Orion and Clarkston, 2014. Horneffer adjusting the line. Zach Surzo on the carry, and he's up close to the 30-yard line. They're going to mark him down on the 29. 14 yards on the carry for Surzo. It's a 1st down for Lake Orion.
Great run, and I'm watching Matt Kraus, and Matt Kraus is running the ball this way, and he gets tackled by number 64 and doesn't even have the football. That's the respect that Matt Kraus has, and if they can run their fakes as well as they did there, and open up Surzo to scamper like he did there, that's a good sign for the Dragons.
Horneffer having a little word with Surzo. Surzo comes in motion.
Nice cut.
Nice cut. Surzo got the carry on the sweep. Cut it up, got a gain of 9. It'll bring up 2nd and 1.
We talked about, Surzo, 11.4 yards a carry. He had 6 carries last week for 57 yards and a touchdown against Bloomfield Hills. Here's a little jet sweep coming, and Zach does a nice job of cutting back inside. The Wolves linebackers over pursued. That's what allowed the cutback for Surzo.
Yeah, number 28, Ryan Stawara. There goes Matt Kraus. He's in the clear.
Look at that.
Touchdown, Lake Orion Dragons.
That is a way to start a football game.
He got through the line, and there was nobody in front of him. They're still running the clock. That'll be taken care of shortly. Kurt Bevilacqua in for the extra point. Let's watch this again. Right there.
Barely even touched. And you're not going to stop Matt Kraus in the open field like that. He's looking back behind him to see if Canada was able to catch him.
Yeah, the referee just caught it. He's going to...
Still running.
The back judge is usually the one who keeps the time, and they let a lot of time run off. Bevilacqua into try the extra point. Ryan Wood, number 84, a hold. Ball is down, kick is up, and the kick is good. it looked like it was about 10:05 when they scored the touchdown. And
62-yard scamper by Matt Krause.
10:26, Ian Locke has told us. Joe Velez is pushing the buttons tonight. Ian Locke is making sure this is coming to you in crystal clear HD tonight.
Well, we talked about, keeping that Lake Orion offense on the field, ball control,
Yeah, they're
ball control with production, and once all said and done, that's what that Lake Orion needs to do.
Matt got by that first line of defense, and then he just turned on the Jets, and there were 3 players waiting to hit him, and he just ran by all 3 of them. So they're gonna 10:06 is left on the clock, they say now.
And certainly, without question, that type of start really energizes the Lake Orion football team. You should have seen the crowd once Krause broke into the open.
Bevilacqua kicks off, kind of a low wobbly kick, taken on the 10, up over the 20, up to the 30, a little bit of running room, and forced out of bounds. Number 18, Austin Egler, on the return for Clarkston, so they'll take over 1st and 10 on their own 45-yard line.
Just right up the right hash, nothing fancy. He cuts back inside on Demetrius Coachman, and Dan White's there to knock him out of bounds. Personal foul against the Dragons at the end of the play.
Didn't see what it was, but yeah, number 24, Dan White, he just kind of came in and grabbed on and held on for dear life. Got him out of bounds. So that'll add 15 onto it. Clarkston will take over 1st and 10 at the Lake Orion, 39. 9:58 left. Dragons up 7-0.
You see how big special teams is already
Trips
in this game.
Trips to the left for Clarkston. Motion coming inside. Ball coming around. Number 18, that's Egler on the carry, and same thing Lake Orion runs. They run that jet sweep.
They run that jet sweep, and they run it out of 5 wides or an empty backfield, and they give it to a kid, who's 6'3", 200, so he's good size, good thickness, and he runs for a nice first down for the Wolves.
So 1st and 10 for Clarkston. Ball on the Lake Orion 29. Trips to the right this time. Zazula in the shotgun. And they got some tall guys out as their wideouts. Pass complete to number 21, Shane Holler. He's down on the 1.
Yeah, that Zazula threw that ball just over the outstretched hands of number 4, Logan Shadea, and got hit Holler inside the 5-yard line. Holler's a kid that came back in week 4 after some injuries, and Zazula and Holler have hooked up nicely since they've been back. They've been playing together since 7th grade.
Zazula under center. 1st and goal for Clarkston. Handoff, number 36. That's Nolan Erickson, and he's in for the touchdown. So, you answer a score with the score, and Clarkston did just that. Watch this again. Nothing fancy, just a little off tackle play.
Just a little ISO up the middle, and Erickson has a nose for the end zone.
Clarkston doesn't have as big of an offensive line as that they've had in years past. Ball's down, kick is up, and the kick is good. 8:49, we're tied at 7. Yeah, Clarkston doesn't have that big, intimidating offensive line, but Coach Richardson was telling me they're a little quicker.
Well, they're quicker and they're so much more versatile, as we talked about, with their offensive play calling and their skill position guys, and certainly the quarterback Zazula has done an outstanding job for them for the last couple of years. So again, it's just not when I say traditional Clarkston, I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 plus years ago and beyond, where they used to pound the ball. They've changed their offensive philosophy, and certainly that's worked to their advantage.
Number 9, Alex Hassman, will kick off for Clarkston. Matt Krause deep to the left, and that is Jalen Wiggins.
But here, you just think about this. Here's what you can't do against your defending state champions. You can't give them a short field. You can't let them run the ball back to the 46-yard line and then have a 15-yard penalty on top of it. So Lake Orion's got to overcome those.
High end-over-end kick. Jalen Wiggins will take it in the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Dragons will start out 1st and 10 from the 20.
Go mobile with ONTV anytime. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube on your mobile devices. Connect with ONTV to see what's happening in our new studio, see upcoming events, and watch ONTV programs in high definition on demand. ONTV, working to bring Lake Orion to the world.
Well, replays tonight brought to you by Jets Pizza. 2 locations in the Orion area. Our scoreboard is brought to you by Camp Bow Wow. If your dog needs training, that's where you take it. Krause on the carry. He's up over the 20 to maybe the 21. And brought down number 64, Brian Witherspoon, in on the tackle for Clarkston. So that brings up 2nd and 9 for the Dragons from their own 21. Offset eye in the backfield. Horneffer trying to throws it at the feet of number 4, Logan Shadea. That'll bring up 3rd and 9.
Yeah, good decision there to just roll out and throw it away. The receiver was in the area, and Horneffer had 3 wolves chasing him, and good decision.
So that bring up 3rd and 9, and again, this is what you do. Again, what you don't want to do against the defending state champs is go 3 and out right after they've scored.
Yeah, Lake Orion comes into the season averaging 43.4% on 3rd down conversions this season.
Serzo comes out in a slot right. Krause alone back in the backfield. High snap. Horneffer's got it. Looking, throws, and incomplete. Number 43, Joe Pop, senior captain, co-captain, in on the coverage for Clarkston.
Yeah, it started right from the get-go. Horneffer does a nice job of deflecting the ball and popping it back up to him. And then because he had the pressure, he was able to get it out there but float it a little bit high and out of bounds.
We've commented a couple times that the Dragons haven't gone a whole lot in the shotgun in the last year or two, and it puts a little pressure on your center to make that shotgun snap.
Oh, that was
almost hit him.
Yes, it did. It almost hit Merritt Canada, number 7.
Yeah, he was looking to block. The returner was yelling, get away, and he was looking to block, and the ball almost hit him. So Clarkston takes over 1st and 10 on the Lake Orion 49-yard line.
Something of note now, Clarkston has now started both their drives in Lake Orion territory.
So Clarkston comes out. They send trips to the left, 1 wide out to the right. Single back in the backfield is Erickson.
Clarkston likes to run the ball out of this formation here.
Erickson with the carry, cuts it outside. He's down the sideline. He's down to the 20 and out of bounds on the 19-yard line. He got outside and turned on the Jets.
He did. He was just able to Egler goes in motion back to the short side of the field and ends up leading for, Erickson cuts back and down the sideline. He's not touched until 30 yards later when he's forced out of bounds inside the 20.
So 1st and 10 for Clarkston.
Same formation.
Trips to the left. Handoff again to Erickson. Cuts it upfield. He's down to about the 11. So that'll bring up second and about 3. Just under 7.5 left in the. Every time I sit down, I can't hear myself. So 7 minutes left. Erickson on the carry, delays. Nope, Zazula took the carry, and the same thing. I'm watching Erickson and Zazula on the keeper, and he's got a 1st and goal inside the 5.
And you certainly can't, defensively, you certainly can't lull yourself to sleep thinking Williams or Erickson's going to get the ball on the handoff, because Zazula will do that on that zone read. He'll keep that ball and takes it inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal.
Clarkston comes out, trips to the right this time. Number 21, Shane Holler, lone split wide out to the left. Erickson on the carry, and he's dropped. Number 10, Bay Smart on the stop for the Dragons, and he cut right in and stopped him in his tracks.
Yeah, well done. Coming off the edge. Smart makes a smart play there, and a nice solo tackle in the backfield.
So 2nd and goal from the 4. Clarkston comes out, trips to the right. Erickson alone back in the backfield. Zazula in the gun.
Bubble screen.
Zazula throws. Touchdown Clarkston. Number 18, Austin Egler. As you said, Chris, just threw that bubble screen out, and Egler caught it, and there was nobody in front of him.
No, there wasn't, and that's what they checked they must have checked at the line of scrimmage, and they saw there was uncovered there, and that's an easy pitching catch for Zazula to Egler for a touchdown. So, again, a short field results in a quick score for Clarkston.
Number 9, Alex Kessman in for the extra point. Snap is back, and we have a flag. We have a false start against Clarkston. This is an East Side crew we have here tonight. Jeff Davis is the referee. Aaron Woodbury is the head linesman. Tom Heidemann is the line judge. Bryant Whitaker is the umpire, and Joe Levesque is the back judge. So we'll back it up 5 yards and do it again. Number 43, Joe Pop, is the holder. Ball is down, kick is up, and the kick is good. 5:50 left in the first quarter. Your score, Clarkston 14, Lake Orion 7. Well, that was right down the field, and as you said, you can't give them a short field because they're just too good.
Just too good, and you know, we've seen it for quite a number of years now. You know, the ability for Lake Orion to stop this 20-game win streak of the Wolves is you know, I don't want to say you have to play a perfect game, but you pretty darn near have to play as close to a perfect game as possible. You can't have 3 and outs. You can't have penalties. You can't turn the ball over. You've got to sustain drives like you did the first drive. And, a lot of football left.
Dragons switch up their return men. Matt Krause is now on the far side, and Jalen Wiggins is over here on the near side. Hessman approaches. High end over end kick, and Krause will take it in the end zone. Dragons will start out 1st and 10 on the 20 with 5:50 left in the first quarter. Well, it hasn't been dull.
No, not at all. No, it hasn't. But statistics don't mean anything. Certainly the score is the most important thing here. But I go back to what we've talked about. You start first drive, Lake Orion starts inside the 15, or right around the 15, excuse me. Next two series, we've started the 20. And as a result, Clarkston started on our side of Lake Orion's side of the field. So, that has a lot to do with the success of a football team.
Cam Costas in at quarterback now. Krause is a lone setback. Surzo in motion. Krause up the middle, and he bowled over number 44, Carter Linton, and got about 7.
I think we're gonna talk about that combination quite a bit tonight. Krause, Linton, middle linebacker for the Wolves, taking on Krause. I mean, we're gonna see a lot of that tonight. It's gonna be a fun matchup to watch.
2nd and 3, they're calling it. Ball on the 27. Stoppage of play. Timeout, Lake Orion. So have you ever wanted to make your own TV show or operate a camera for a live sporting event and be part of our happy crew here? Well, ONTV can make it happen. Your first step, though, is to sign up for orientation. It's free and offers you a look behind the scenes at ONTV. Call 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060 for more information. We have graduates of the classes here tonight. Working with our producer-director, Joe Velez, and Ian Locke is doing all the computer stuff.
Is that the technical term for it, computer stuff?
You know, when I took orientation a long time ago, it's come a long way since then. Krause on the carry, breaks a tackle, gets a first down up to the 34-yard line.
Doug, a lot of things have come a long way since you started.
Oh, boy. I can't believe these guys are using plastic helmets now. So 1st and 10 for the Dragons. Surzo in motion. He gets the handoff, cuts it upfield, gets a gain of maybe 4 up to the 38-yard line where it'll be 2nd down. Started on the jet sweep and just cut it up. Saw a little hole and got 4 yards out.
Yeah, we've talked about it all season long. He does a nice job of seeing that opening and boom, cutting on a dime and cutting back against the grain, so to speak. And a lot of times, those are the biggest plays in football happen because they're able to cut back against a backer who's over pursued.
Number 7, Merritt Canada on the stop. So 2nd down and 6. Handoff to Krause coming up the middle. He's up over the 40 to the 41, where it'll be 3rd down and 3.
3rd down, we talked about coming into the game tonight, 43% on 3rd down conversions. But, the last 3rd down Lake Orion had was a 3rd and 9. 3rd and 3 a little bit more manageable. So Lake Orion's got to continue that consistency, or to sustain some of that consistency. If they're going to take it to 3rd down, it's 3rd and short or 3rd and medium.
Surzo in the slot left. Wiggins comes in motion. Handoff to Surzo, cuts it upfield. Just got tripped up by Canada, but he got enough for a 1st down. He steps out of that tackle, and he's gone.
That was a couple times tonight that Surzo has been almost there. Almost there. Nice pull. Nice cut. There's the cutback again. Boy, Canada comes from the backside and is able to make the tackle on Surzo. And they list Merrick Canada as a defensive back / athlete.
Yeah.
You saw his athleticism there on that play.
Well, he's another one. The family's been around Clarkston. They've put a couple players through the Clarkston program. Kraus up the middle, gain of 3 up to the 48-yard line. It'll be second down. Number 73, Jamie Stottlemyre, came in from his line position, made the tackle.
Lake Orion's come out in a really nice balance between both Surzo and Kraus. And we talked about, their yards per average carrying the football coming into the game tonight. That you have that balance running the game, and that Clarkston defense can't isolate on one.
Surzo on the carry, and he stopped.
Now here's one of those third and medium to long situations right now that puts Lake Orion in a little bit of a bind. Is it something where you can rely on Kraus and Surzo to carry the football, or is it something where you put it in the air? Lake Orion's only put it in the air 42 times all season long.
That doesn't seem right, does it? Number 29, Jack McKillop, in on the tackle for Clarkston on the last play, along with number 51, Ross Mansour. So 3rd down and 7 for the Dragons from their own 48.5-yard line. Horneffer back in. Looks, he's going to run it. He's got a first down inside Clarkston territory. They're going to call him down on the 41-yard line.
That's a nice decision. Nice decision. Surzo's coming across on the drag route, was not open. It's almost like he was committed to run right away. He tucks it well before the line of scrimmage and says, you know what, I'm going to get the first down, and Horneffer does a nice job of doing just that.
Yeah, they brought Horneffer in specifically for that one play. It looks like they're going to have Horneffer in on passing downs and Costas in the rest of the time. Kraus up the middle, and he stopped. Number 8, Dane Rogers, and number 44, Carter Linton, in on the tackle for Clarkston, brings up 2nd and 9.
Lake Orion coaching staff put, believe me, countless hours in this week with coming up with different tendencies and scouting reports and looking at offenses and defenses from different angles and different hash marks. And it was amazing the amount of time they put in to prepare their kids for tonight's huge game.
So 2nd and 9, just under a minute left here in the first quarter. Surzo in motion. He gets the carry. Cuts it upfield, and he stopped for minimal gain, maybe a half yard. And that'll bring up 3rd and long.
That's one of those plays where they just run the jet sweep, and Clarkston just did a nice job of stringing it wide. And when Zach tries to cut back inside, McKillop was right there on the cutback for a 1-yard gain.
Dragons may not have to run another play before the end of the quarter.
Here's that 3rd and long again. Last time they ran that bootleg waggle play. That seemed messed up from the get-go, didn't it?
They went to hand off to Kraus, and he pulled it back. Let's take it down to Kevin McCormick on the sidelines. Kev? We'll come back to Kevin in a minute. Obviously, we're having some audio difficulties. It's one thing to broadcast inside.
And in the way that they've been able to move.
We'll go back to him in a minute. So at the end of 1, Clarkston's up 14-0. Dragons are going to have a 4th and 9.
7.
14-7, excuse me.
Can't forget about that first drive.
Can't forget about the first drive. Okay, now we'll go down to Kevin on the sidelines. Kev?
talked to the coaches this week. They felt like the players had a great week of practice, that they were really fired up, and that they want to put the pressure on Clarkston. And I think you're seeing the efforts of that in the early score and the way that they're being able to move the ball right now down the field. So far, so good for the Dragons. Back to you.
Thanks, Kev. 4th and 9. Dragons are going to go for it. They're in that we call no man's land. Costas back to throw. Looks, goes deep, overthrows Jalen Wiggins. So Clarkston will take over on their own 40, 1st and 10.
Ball thrown a little high. Merritt Canada on the coverage at that time. Just running a little vertical route, trying to take advantage of Jalen's speed. But again, I don't know if the wind had any effect on that particular ball, because the wind's kind of going across the field.
The wind is a factor. It's blowing pretty stiff out of the northwest, and the home bleachers block a lot of it and almost get the wind to swirl. So Clarkston takes over, 1st and 10. They send trips to the right, widen a slot to the left. Zazula on the keeper, and he goes nowhere.
Nice play. Nice play by Logan Shadea.
Logan Shadea came up and stopped Zazula. And he's getting up with a little hitch in his get-along there.
Egler, backside tackle. Trimmer pulls and just runs that little quarterback dive, and Shadea makes a nice play for a short gain.
Yeah, Bay Smart came up and secured it, so that brings up second. Let's call it 2nd and 10. Same formation, trips right, double wide to the left. Zazula, complete. Got enough for a 1st down to number 43, Joe Pop. So they'll move the chains. The ball is just over midfield. Nose of the ball touching the Lake Orion 49. 1st and 10, 11 minutes left here in the 2nd quarter.
You know, one of the things Kevin talked about from the sideline there is putting pressure on Zazula, and they've got to try to find a way to pressure Zazula with their front 4 or send a blitzer or two so they can put him in situations to feel uncomfortable. Haven't done that so far.
Double wide, double slot. Zazula on the keeper, and he goes nowhere. Bay Smart on the tackle. Number 45, Tommy Babich on the tackle. No gain, brings up 2nd and 10. It looks like they're keeping one guy back to key on Zazula. So 2nd and 9. Number 6, Centrus Williams Jr. is in the backfield with Zazula. Zazula back, looks, throws. Got number 18, Austin Egler again. He's caught a lot of balls tonight already, and he is down. They're going to call it just inside the 25-yard line.
You know, and that's what, look at the pressure, the lack of pressure, that Zazula had. He had all day to throw. Nice pocket was formed by that offensive line. And you know, when you've got that much time, the ability to play pitch and catch with your wide receivers, it makes things a lot easier. So again, Lake Orion's got to find a way to pressure and stunt up front to put that pressure on Zazula to force him out of the pocket and put him off his... throw his timing off,
1st and 10, Zazula stays in the gun. Handoff up the middle. Number 6, that was Centrus Williams Jr., and he's got enough for a 1st down.
Low center of gravity, 5'7", 200, just carries the football. 10 yards later, 1st down.
He's a powerful running back.
And so you can see with the number of athletes that Clarkston has, how many guys that Lake Orion's got to contend with. From the quarterback to the 2 backs to the wideouts out wide, and that offensive line who's given Zazula time makes things difficult.
Trips to the right, now motion left coming back. Williams on the carry, trying to get outside, and he won't get there. Logan Shadea chased him down, got him out of bounds.
That's good angles, good penetration. Williams cuts back to the left-hand side and fouls number 50, but Shadea, followed by number 9, Joe Slayton, does a nice job of stringing that play out for a minimal gain.
So 2nd and 8 for Clarkston. Ball spotted on the 11-yard line. 8:40 left here in the second quarter. Zazula stays in the gun, trips to the right, and Clarkston's taking a timeout. Something I've never seen this before, the umpire was taking his hat off and waving it at the Clarkston bench. I don't know if there was an injured player or what the situation was, but he was trying to get their attention. So Clarkston just did the honorable thing and called timeout. As I find my read sheet, be sure to tune in to replays of your favorite games right here on ONTV. Tune in Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 1 p.m. for the most current games in our lineup. Games are also replayed throughout the week, so check our program guide on our webpage at orionontv.org for replay times that best fit your viewing schedule. Also visit our YouTube link for games on demand, www.orionontv.org. The game's pretty much what we've expected so far. It hasn't been an aerial battle. Clarkston's thrown when they've had to. They've run the ball successfully. Zazula. Rolling right, he's going to keep it, goes up the middle. Did he get in? No, they're marking him down on the 1. He got upended, looked like Logan Shadaya, right on the 1.
Run a little option here with Williams trailing, and Zazula does a smart thing and cuts the ball upfield, and you're right.
Aaron Hughes is the one that undercut him.
Tackled, and the ball did hit inside the goal line, just outside the goal line.
So 1st and goal for Clarkston from inside the 1. Williams is the back. Zazula under center. Hands to Williams. He's in for the touchdown for Clarkston. They have been doing what Lake Orion's mantra has been for years, is to get yardage in chunks. And they have been getting chunk yards tonight. Big push from that offensive line. Yep. Ran behind number 58, Adam Matic, senior co-captain, and got in for the touchdown. So number 9, Alex Kessman, in for the extra point. Pop is the holder. Ball is down, kick is up, and the kick is good. 7:46 left in the half. Clarkston 21, Lake Orion 7.
You know, as explosive as the Clarkston offense is, you know, I keep sounding probably like a broken record here, but it was all said and done. That was a fairly short field too. They had a 60-yard drive in their third possession, and you know, you go back to the 4th down decision to go for it on 4th down, and it gives Clarkston that field. Maybe you decide to punt at that time, bury them a little bit deeper into their own end, and make them work for it a little longer. You know, you can play that second-guessing game right now, but I think when you're playing a team like Clarkston, I think you got to play that field position game and hope that things go your way in terms of, you know, the elements out there, the wind, just overall win the field position battle.
And they would have been punting into a pretty stiff wind. So, yeah, they could have landed it inside. And like you said, you can play that second guess all night long. High end over end kick. Taken by Kraus at the 5.
There's a seam.
Puts it up and got closed down in a hurry by number 34, Cass Whitekiss, on the tackle for Clarkston.
Kraus carries the ball and looks like right about there. He had the seam on the outside, but you're right, number 34, Cass Whitekiss, comes from the backside and tracks Kraus down.
So the Dragons got a score on this possession.
I just say we can talk about field position all you want, but when it's all said and done, you got to make plays on both.
You got to make plays.
You know, and if you don't make plays, those things aren't going to happen for you. So look for Lake Orion to come on out and establish the drive and hopefully put some points on the board here.
Serzo split out wide to the right. Jalen Wiggins gets the carry. He's up over the 25 to the 27. It'll be second down and about 5. Was that Keith Fields on the carry, 3 instead of 13? It was. Keith Fields on the carry. He splits out wide to the left. Kraus the lone setback. Matt gets the carry up the middle and gets he gets up to the 30. It'll still be 1.5 yards short. So it'll be third down for the Dragons.
With as many carries as Matt Kraus has had this year, he runs the ball hard, doesn't he?
He does.
Fun to watch.
He never takes a play off. Kraus alone back, double slot look. Fields in motion. Serzo up the middle. He's got the first down. They've got him marked at the 33, 34 yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Dragons. Matt Kraus had a little forward lean there. Number 58, Adam Matic, stood up Zach and just dropped him, but not before he picked up the first down. Serzo on the carry. He's stood up and backed down by number 18, Austin Egler. He made the cut up field and just got stood up by Egler right there, filled the hole, stood him up and took him backwards. They mark forward progress on the 32, where it'll be 2nd and 11. Keith Fields split to the left. Serzo to the right. Fields in motion. He gets the handoff. Gets it upfield. Gains about 2. He's just over the 35-yard line. So that'll bring up third down, and they're calling it 7 for the Dragons. Horneffer comes in at quarterback. And Chris, that looks like what they're doing. They're letting Cam run it early plays, and then when they get into passing situations, then they're bringing Max back in.
Max is almost 64% completion percentage on the year, so I'm sure that's one of the reasons why.
And Lake Orion's calling timeout. 4:32 left in the second quarter.
Video classes are now enrolling. Reserve your seat today. Learn the basics of studio and field production with ONTV's staff of video professionals. We offer hands-on instruction in a fun atmosphere. Orion residents pay only $10. Call ONTV to find out more at 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060. Or visit our webpage, orionontv.org.
While we have this minute, we have to thank all our underwriters for this year. Malash's Palace, Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, Jets Pizza, Camp Bow Wow. Everyone has helped make these broadcasts happen, and we really appreciate it. Hopefully next year we'll have more than 3 home games. Horneffer.
Uh-oh.
On the carry. And he gets out to near the 4. They're marking him down on the 37.
That was simply a naked boot. Horneffer decides to keep it himself. All the offensive flow was going to the right. Horneffer keeps it on his by himself, and he was relying on his speed to get to the edge, and he got as close as he could, but just a little bit short of the first down.
Number 51, Ross Manser, chased him down, and he showed some pretty good wheels coming down. Number 11, who I don't have, that's Jacob Negri, was the punter on that play. He punted into a pretty stiff wind. Clarkston fair caught at their own 33-yard line, where they'll take over 1st and 10. And this is probably the longest field they've had to work with tonight.
It is. Starting drive, it is. It is.
So Zazula brings him out. They're lining up trips left, double wide to the right. Zazula in the shotgun in an empty backfield. Number 18, Austin Egler on the carry. He's got a first down over midfield. They're going to mark him down at the Lake Orion 47.
Just coming in motion, a little jet sweep, and Egler, Clarkston does a nice job of securing the edge. There's a hold right there on Shadea, but when it's all said and done, they did call it. They did call it.
They did call a hold.
Thank you.
I didn't see the flag.
Great camera work here. Caught that.
Yeah.
And luckily we were able to get that convey that down to the officials, right?
There we go.
That's right.
So that'll back them up 10. That's a spot foul, so that backs them up to their own 30-yard line, where it'll be first down and about 14. Clarkston comes back, sends trips to the right, single wide out to the left. Zazula calling the signals, hands off. Tried to see, was that Erickson on the,
Yep, it was.
Erickson on the carry. He got the penalty yardage back, and he got a first down out of it. So they'll reset the chains. Good carry by Erickson.
Lost contain there on the edge, and they just run off tackle to the outside, and
he actually fell over his own guy.
Erickson runs, a little bit like his brother did for those couple years. His brother's now playing at Eastern Michigan.
I think he got redshirted this year.
Did he?
I've been looking at the stats. I haven't seen him on the stats. I think they redshirted him. Derek Williams is doing very well at Eastern. Zazula back to throw. Looks, throws. Has number 10, Hayden Shaner, gain of 8 to the 48-yard line.
And Zazula in that shotgun formation, and again, he's got all time to throw. You don't see a green jersey in there and provide any pressure. So as long as he's got the time to throw, he's going to be able to pick apart that Lake Orion secondary.
Second and short, 2nd and 2 for Clarkston. Erickson back in the backfield. Zazula hands to Erickson. He's cutting it upfield. He's got a first down. Close to the 40-yard line. They're going to mark him down at the 43. So that's 1st and 10. They move the chains again.
Erickson on the cutback right there, and you know, this is one of those things where Lake Orion's got to, before with coming up on 2 minutes to go in the second quarter, has got to find a way to get a stop and get out of here with the score as it is, 21-7.
So 1st and 10 for Clarkston. Zazula stays in the gun. Egler comes in motion, now comes back the other way. Erickson on the carry. And he's gaining 6 yards a pop.
Yeah, I mean, second and medium, second and short. Those are very, very manageable situations for an offense. So, and again, they like to run out of this 3-by-1 offensive set, and they hand the ball off to Erickson there for a 5-6 yard gain.
So 2nd down and 5, they're calling it from the 38. 1:30 left here in the second quarter. Zazula stays in the gun. Erickson's the back in the backfield. Zazula rolling right, looks, throws deep, overthrows. Trying to see who he overthrew. Number 43, that was Joe Pop. So that brings 3rd and 5 up for the Wolves.
And they rolled out Zazula to the right, and they ran a little smash concept where the outside receiver runs a little hitch route, the inside receiver Pop runs a corner route, and Zazula just overthrew him.
So 3rd and 5, 1:19 left in the second quarter. Clarkston up 21-7. Zazula back, looks, rolls left, throws, caught. Egler again, and he got yards after the catch on that play. Well, and he was standing there all along.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, you said caught. Looks down. How many times did you say that? Looks, and he's still got all this time to throw, and does a nice job of finding the open man. And when it's all said and done, it was pretty easy to find Egler, because you're right, he was so wide open, and you just can't afford to give Zazula that much time.
So 1st and goal for Clarkston, under a minute left. Zazula hands to Erickson. Oh, Zazula stayed on the keeper. And did they call touchdown? They did. Zazula got it inside the pylon for the Clarkston touchdown. 36 seconds
that little
left.
Zone read, and Zazula kept it, and then they got a nice block by number 10, Hayden Shaner, right there, and they did count that. The pylon moved. Yep. They considered the ball touched the pylon, touchdown Wolves.
Dallas Cleary had him by the ankles and was holding on, looking for help. And Zazula's a big guy, and he just kept working, got it in for the touchdown. So Hessman in for the extra point. Joe Pop is the holder. Ball's down, kick is up. And the kick is good. 36 seconds left in the first half. Clarkston, 28. Lake Orion, 7.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where 3rd and medium, 3rd and long, they had an opportunity to get a stop, and they just, again, defensive line, Lake Orion couldn't provide any pressure. Zazula had all time, finds Egler on that big 3rd down play, and as a result, 2 plays later, they get into the end zone and take a 28-7 lead. So, momentum shifted quickly. Lake Orion starts out that first drive of the first quarter and runs it right down the Wolves' throat, and good teams like Clarkston will, like you said before, answer a score with their own score, and unfortunately they've put 4 scores on the board.
Yeah. So let's see if the I'm assuming the Dragons will return this kick and just take a Nico into the half and make their adjustments. Kraus deep on the far side, Jalen Wiggins deep on the near side. Zach Surzo's the up back. He's just going to pop it up. Surzo on the return. Going to cut it outside. Gets a block. He's got some room. and gets pushed out of bounds at the 40-yard line. They're calling it the 39. So still time for a couple plays left.
Yeah, that's one of those decisions where, one, do they do that because of the wind? Do they do that because they don't want to kick to Matt Krause?
Well, he had the wind at his back. I think they were just trying to do that to keep a long return, but Zach busted a pretty good one out anyhow. Trips to the right for the Dragons. Toss back to Krause, trying to get around the corner, and he's brought down for a loss.
Yep, number 34, Cass Waitkus, was the one who helped set the edge, and right there couldn't get.
Bryce Witherspoon, look at him fight off his blocks to get in there and bring him down.
Brendan Thompson, the right tackle, couldn't sustain Waitkus on the outside, and Waitkus forced Krause back inside, and leads us to halftime.
And that'll do it. That's the end of the first half. Your score, Clarkston 28, Lake Orion 7. You're watching exclusive coverage of Lake Orion Dragon football here on Orion Neighborhood Television. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mike Bouchard, the Oakland County Sheriff. There's a big problem that faces all the communities in America today, and that's abuse of legitimate prescription drugs. Sometimes they're left in the home when a loved one passes away, or they're in the medicine cabinet for someone else, and a youngster in the home steals it and they abuse it. It's one of the fastest growing drug abuses that we see in our community and across the country. Secondly, we see these drugs oftentimes when they're no longer utilized being flushed down the drain, and we're seeing higher levels of residual pharmaceuticals in our waterways and our streams. So, to solve two problems with one effort, we partnered with Home Instead Senior Care to start a program called Operation Medicine Cabinet to get those drugs out of the homes, out of the hands of youngsters, and out of the waterway, and safely and environmentally destroy them. Learn more about the program at OperationMedicineCabinetMI.com and be part of the solution. Thank you.
Halftime is underwritten by Classic Lanes, located at 2145 Avon Industrial Drive in Rochester Hills. Classic Lanes is your home for family fun and family entertainment. Visit them on the web at myclassiclanes.com.
This court, this trial has come to order. If you got something to say, then say it, Your Honor. Mr. B.B. Wolf, you've been charged with crimes by breeding, alone with cruel swine. So what do you have to say? Concerning your story should compare. Because if things don't turn out right for you, your butt is going to jail.
Now, I'm not quite sure how it's come to this, but I must defend myself and get these charges dismissed. I will prove to the jury that it just wasn't me. They'll see that I've been framed and they'll let me go free.
Order in the court. I'll have order in the court.
I was on the road selling my wares when, much to my surprise, I saw a little house made out of straw. Your Honor, I could not believe my eyes. It occurred to me while looking at the home, this was an opportunity. Because was someone stupid enough to make a straw house would be a real good customer for me. As I approached this pitiful abode, I started to feel an itch in my nose. I sniffled, I snuffed, and sniffled again, but I couldn't hold back what was building within. Right on twitching, and I was sneezing all day long. And I could tell them sneezing was getting pretty strong. Who would have figured that it could turn out in such a way that before it was all over, I blew down 3 houses that day.
That's a pretty suspicious story you're bringing me today. And I'm not sure I believe a word of what you had to say. But let's move on to the next cry, that pig caper will keep. Tell me, Mr. B.B. Wolf, what did you do to Bo Peep's sheep?
Yo, Honor, Yo Majesty, Yo Boss Man, dear sir, I'm innocent, I tells you, and I swear by my mother's own fur. Mine is the story of an unrequited life. I love Bo Peep, Honor, and could never do what I've been accused of. I'm a businessman, Your Honor, so I just got on my way. I saw a sight so lovely, my heart stopped in mid-beat. It was Bo Peep, Your Majesty, and all of the sheep. Top of the hill, I gazed at her from afar, but a thorn bush caught me, and I pulled away too far. I tried to keep from falling, I tried to hold my own, but I fell on one of Bo's sheep and broke its every bone.
Halftime is underwritten by Classic Lanes, located at 2145 Avon Industrial Drive in Rochester Hills. Classic Lanes is your home for family fun and family entertainment. Visit them on the web at myclassiclanes.com.
Hello, Lake Orion and Oakland County. This is Sammy Termina here, talking a new show here called OAA Now. We're going to talk about sports from football to basketball to volleyball to track and field to soccer, cross country, etc. here on OAA Now on ON TV.
Halftime, Clarkston Wolves lead the Lake Orion Dragons 28-7. Chris Frisching and Doug Corliss. And Chris, you got the stats for the first half.
Yeah, it's 28-7.
It's 28-7.
That's all you need to know, really. No, when it's all said and done. You know, Lake Orion started off the game their first drive. Matt Krause, 62-yard touchdown run to put Lake Orion up 7-0 at the 10:07 mark of the first quarter. Clarkston answers that with a Nolan Erickson 1-yard run. At 8:49 of the first quarter, 7-7. Clarkston comes back their next drive. DJ Zazula pass complete to Austin Engler for 4 yards and a touchdown. Put Clarkston up 14-0. Second quarter, 7:46 to in the second quarter. Centris Williams a 1-yard run to make it 21-7. And Clarkston just before half, 36 seconds left. Zazula 4-yard touchdown run, make it 28-7. First half stats: Lake Orion 142 yards total offense, all on the ground. No passing yards at all in the first half. 0 of 3 Lake Orion was in the air. For Clarkston, 219 yards of total offense, 118 rushing yards, 101 passing yards, and 16.8 yards per catch. Individually, for Lake Orion, Matt Krause 10 carries for 84 yards. Zach Serzo 8 carries for 36 yards. For Clarkston, Zazula's had all day to throw. 6 of 7 for 101 yards and a touchdown. Nolan Erickson 7 carries for 64 yards and a touchdown. Zazula has 5 carries for 25 yards and a touchdown as well. So, the statistics are such that they tell a lot, and they tell a lot that the score's 28-7 Clarkston.
It's one, and this is one of the things we were talking about during the half, is it's almost unthinkable that a team can go an entire half without one passing yard. And I really, there's sacks brought into the equation. There's everything out. There's tackle for loss, but it's really hard to go an entire half without 1 yard of passing.
Well, you know how you improve that? You got to complete a football, and that's what's all said and done. That's
got to complete a pass.
Horneffer did a nice job a couple times of tucking the ball and running on bootlegs and so forth, and so it's. We're going back to what we talked about at the outset and the keys to the game. You got to contain Zazula and the offense. Haven't been able to do that. Haven't been able to sustain, other than the first drive, haven't been able to sustain long drives. And, so when it's all said and done, Lake Orion's got to find a way to force turnovers, to get more pressure on Zazula, to do things offensively to keep them off the field, as we've talked about. And you know what? Like we said at the outset, that's why you play the games. Well, that's why you play a full 4 quarters, okay? And hopefully the Dragons can do something and turn things around in their favor.
And from Clarkston's aspect, you want one thing. You want to put your foot on their throat and push. You want to make a statement early. Clarkston gets the ball to start the second half, and they want to come out, make a score, put Lake Orion in a deeper hole, and if they have to, they want to get a running clock in the second half.
No, they do. 2 weeks ago when Clarkston played Troy Athens, Clarkston ended up winning 37-20. Well, when it was all said and done, the next day in the paper, Kurt Richardson came out and said after the game that night that he didn't like the way his kids played. Well, guess what? They were up 37-0 at halftime. He put all his second and third stringers in, and he didn't feel that they played a full 4 quarters. So you know darn well that's their mentality, that's their thought process, that they want their kids, no matter who's in there, to play those full 4 quarters, and they're going to do that.
Belavacqua will kick off for the Dragons. Egler deep for Clarkston. He gets the ball, drops it, picked up by Erickson. He's up 15-20 outside to the 25-yard line. That was number 21, Shane Holler, picked up the drop ball. Good awareness by Holler.
Number 41, Pete Weglars, was the one who knocked him out of bounds, and this now will be Clarkston's worst starting field position at the 25.
Zazula leads them out. 1st and 10, ball's marked on the 25-yard line.
Three by one offensive set with the tailback opposite the trips to the left side. They like to run out of this formation.
Zazula stays in the gun. He's been in there all night except when they get close to the goal line. Handoff. Erickson around the left side. He's jumbled up at the 25-yard line and dropped.
Well done, Lake Orion Green.
Robert Fallon came up and stopped him.
Just kept stringing the play, stringing the play. There was no cutback lane for Erickson. Do a nice job of not allowing Erickson to turn the corner and get up and go. Well done by the Dragons defense that time.
Yeah, Logan Shadea hit him first, and then Fallon just never stopped. He came around from the left end and helped chase him down. So 2nd down and 10. They mark him with no gain. Trips to the right, single wide out to the left. Erickson the back in the backfield. Zazula back to throw. Looks, throws. Incomplete. Intended for number 21, Shane Holler. And Zazula just led him a little too far.
Yeah, Holler did get inside leverage on. Did get inside leverage that time. And the focus was onto the trip side, the far side of the field, and they went to the short side of the field with Holler, but you're right. Now brings up a 3rd and long for Clarkston. A great situation for the Dragons. Got to make a play.
How huge would this be to stop him on 3rd down? Zazula in his shotgun, double wide, double slot look for Clarkston. Zazula trying to get motion, didn't quite get it. Fading back, looks, throws, complete to Canada. He's up over the 45, up over midfield, still keeps his feet turning, and down to the Lake Orion 45.
When you don't put pressure on the quarterback, you've got time, he's got time to sit there, and find that window. And Canada does a nice job of running that little curl route inside, and Zazula was reading it all the way. Once he got inside, the linebacker there found a nice window to throw the football for a big 1st down for the Wolves.
And look at the yards after the catch he got on that play. So 1st and 10 for Clarkston from the Lake Orion 45, just underway. 10:20 left here in the 3rd quarter. Zazula in an empty backfield, trips to the left. Zazula back to throw.
Right down the middle.
Throws high.
I tell you what.
Intended for Canada and just put it a little too high for him.
Boy, I'm looking at it from up top here, and obviously I got a different vantage point than Zazula does there, but Holler is wide open down the middle of the field. Wide
Look at the
open.
time.
Just Zazula had 1 incompletion the 1st half. He's got 2 already this 2nd half.
So 2nd and 10 for Clarkston, trips to the left.
Coming out in that same formation they just ran. They probably saw the same thing up top. Clarkston did.
Empty backfield. Zazula throws a little bubble screen. Out to number 21, Shane Holler again. And again, another 10 yards after the catch.
They ran that bubble screen on their 1st touchdown. They run the bubble screen this time to the left-hand side, and there's not a Lake Orion defender. He's not touched until 25 yards downfield.
Jalen Wiggins brought him down, but not until it's another 1st down for Clarkston. And Coach Tooley is just beside himself down there on the sidelines. Erickson's the back. With Zazula in the shotgun. Handoff to Erickson up the middle. Cuts it inside the 10, down to the 8. Carry of about 17 yards for Erickson, and it's another 1st down and goal for Clarkston.
What I'm amazed at seeing so far is that just we got backs that aren't even touched until 10, 15 yards downfield. the ability to get off blocks, shed blocks, go find the football. That's what Lake Orion's having difficulties with in this drive.
And Lake Orion's called timeout, and I think this is a good use of a timeout. Coach Tooley's got to go out and settle his defense down. And I talked to Coach Tooley before the game, and he said, injuries are part of the game. He says the defense has been hit a lot by injuries. They've had to play a lot of sophomores who, for whatever reason, it's hard when you're a sophomore coming up and all of a sudden you're thrown on the varsity. And you're in on the varsity against the defending state champion. As that didn't work either. We have intermittent audio problems up here, so we're doing our best. Okay. The only one that can't hear me is myself, and sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah, you start talking to yourself, Doug, then we might have problems.
And Coach Tooley and Coach Blackstock they're having quite a conversation on their way back. So 1st and goal for Clarkston from the 7-yard line. Pop in motion. Erickson up the middle. He's down to the 1. It'll be 2nd down. And Chris, you and I both know Coach Tooley pretty well. You won't find a more passionate coach, a more driven coach than Coach Tooley. And he says, as he said, you got to play with who you're dealt. So 2nd and goal. Zazula under center for once. Starts pop in motion. Hand off to Williams, and he's in for the touchdown. Kept 2 backs in the backfield. Everyone keyed on Erickson.
Just, ever so slightly missed opportunity. Shadea here from a nose yard position right here. Gets penetration and about to make a play and just doesn't get enough leverage on him to secure the tackle, and Erickson gets into the end zone for a touchdown.
Erickson, yeah. Number 29, Jack McKillop, senior co-captain, was the lead blocker, and he had quite a bit of forward lean going on when that ball was snapped. Kick is up, kick is good. 8:32 left here in the 3rd. Clarkston 35, Lake Orion 7. We'll remind you again that DVD copies can be purchased by calling ONTV at 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060. For only $10, you can get a copy of not only this game, but any game or program in our broadcast vault. That's DVD copies, 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060. Replays are brought to you by Jets Pizza, 2 convenient locations in the Orion area and supporting Orion Neighborhood Television and Lake Orion football since 2009. And they provide catering to our ONTV crew, and we appreciate that. Hassman will kick off. High end-over-end kick coming down to Kraus in the end zone. He had the wind at his back and put a nice high kick in. Dragons will take over 1st and 10 on their 20-yard line. 8:32 left here in the 3rd. It's a very quiet home crowd here tonight. Clarkston travels well. They've got their stands fairly full. People lined up against the east fence. Dragons come out. Max Horneffer's the quarterback. Handoff Matt Kraus up the middle. He gets a gain of 5 up to the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd down. Canada in on the stop for Clarkston. So 2nd and 5, they're calling it, from the 26. Kraus and Logan Shadea in an offset eye, and we have a stoppage in play. And we have a dead ball. False start against the offense. That'll back them up 5, make it 2nd and 10.
One of those situations here where, you know, it's Clarkston scored 35 straight, and you're trying to establish some momentum, trying to establish some drives, and you know, there's still plenty of football left, but you know, certainly things haven't been going Lake Orion's way, and you know, from a coaching staff standpoint, it's, you know, they're working their tails off. They're still coaching, they're still teaching, they're still getting their kids ready to go and do what you can when it's all said and done.
Canada over the top of Jalen Wiggins. Coach Bell's looking for a flag. He's not going to get it. So that'll bring up 3rd down and 10.
A little hitch route to, and you're right.
Canada, he did come over the top, and he did hit him before the ball got there.
Canada breaks in the ball, and you know, Canada's got some good size, 6'2", 195, playing that cornerback spot, and you know, all across the board, offensively and defensively, the Wolves are, you know, tall and thick, and yeah, they've got some playmakers.
And they're not as big as they were last year. Horneffer rolling to the right, looks, throws, caught. It's going to be short of the 1st down. Caught by Jalen Wiggins over on the far side, and it's going to be 4th and about 1.5 for the 1st down.
Just a little roll out there, and Horneffer does a nice job of attacking the line and finding Wiggins on the little comeback route just short of the 1st down.
And Jalen did a good job to catch the ball and stay in bounds. And we have a timeout for Lake Orion.
They got under, Horneffer got under center, and
I think they were trying to draw him offside.
I think so too, yeah. And they realized, you know, they weren't going to, and Coach Bell decided to call a timeout. This is a big, you know, big play too, because here's the situation: 4th and 2. Yes, Lake Orion's down 4 scores, but you know, when it's all said and done, you don't get this. You give Clarkston a real short field, and they put another 7 on the board, then it's our point differential.
And if you punt, right now you're punting into a pretty stiff breeze.
Right.
So you either got to punt it low and hope you get a good roll. And they've had number 11, Jacob Negri, punt tonight.
You know, Lake Orion on the season is 4 of 18. Under 22% on 4th down conversion. So, you know, haven't fared all that well this year on 4th down.
Plays called. Dragon offense comes back. Full house backfield. Matt Kraus got the 1st down. Did a little crossbuck there.
Yeah.
Got off the right. He lined up on the left side, crossed over, went off right tackle. Dragons stay in a full house look. Horneffer up the middle.
Shadaya on the carry.
Shadaya on the carry.
Yeah, about a 4-yard gain. Costas hit back into the game for the Dragons at quarterback.
They stay in a full house. Kraus, Serzo, Shadaya are the 3 backs in the backfield. Costas under center. Hands the ball. Matt Kraus got an opening. Got the 1st down.
Yeah, got an opening, got a 1st down, and you know what? Lake Orion's got to return the favor and get a couple of those chunk plays themselves.
We weren't quite sure if he got the first down. I had to look over to the head linesman when he waved the chains up. Dragons stay in the full house. Everyone in tight. Surzo on the carry. I'm sorry, that's Logan Shadaya. Got about 2, brings up 2nd and 8. Dragons trying to make something happen.
Trying to, and it's difficult when you don't have that passing game to be able to balance things out and keep that defense.
Kraus on the carry, up near midfield.
Get a little testy out there too from both sides. I've seen some extracurriculars after the play, and we got a player down.
Yeah,
Lake Orion player down on the field right now with helmet off.
Number 56, Austin Jones, is down. So while the trainers take a look at him, we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
We own a Habitat home.
I love working on my Habitat home.
Soy dueño de una casa de Habitat.
My neighbor is a Habitat homeowner.
Being a Habitat homeowner has changed our lives.
My mortgage payment for Habitat is less than what I paid for rent.
Habitat for Humanity of Oakland County currently has homes available with mortgage payments lower than most rent payments. If you or someone you know needs decent and affordable housing, call 248-338-1843 or visit our website at habitatoakland.org.
Austin Jones is the injured player. He's being carried off, so we assume it's a leg issue. While we have a moment, we have to give our shout out to the Wisconsin Whitewater Warhawks. Again, #1 in D3, my partner's alma mater.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate that.
For how many years?
They've won 5 out of the last 7 Division III national champions.
They haven't missed you a bit there, you know that.
No kidding.
So the Dragons have 3rd down, handoff. Kraus, he's jammed up and he's going nowhere. Logan Shadaya on the run, and he got jammed up, and now we're right back where we were before with a 4th down. Right at midfield. Max Horneffer coming back in. Jacob Theed is in at one of the tight end positions. Full house. Horneffer looks, throws.
Oh.
Got him.
Got the first down.
Number 5, Zach Surzo.
Yeah, got the first down, but it's a situation where Zach does a great job of cutting back on a lot of plays. But I think if he would have stayed true to going north, he doesn't cut back into the tackle right there. If he would have stayed going up the sideline, utilizing his speed, his vertical speed, I think he may be able. Easier said than done from up here, obviously.
Well, the Clarkston line, everybody came in. The linebackers came in. They saw the full house look. And then he was just able to flip it over the top to Zach. Zach coming around the left side. Inside the 40. And they're going to call him down on the 36. Gain of 4 brings up 2nd and 6.
And just run that stretch play out of the full house backfield to Keith Fields that time. And as fast as Fields is, Clarkston did a decent job of stringing that out for only a 3-yard gain.
Logan Shadaya checks back in. Dragons stay in a full house. Horneffer under center. Handoff to Surzo up the middle, and he went absolutely nowhere. Number 44, Carter Linton, we've called his name a lot tonight. Again, came in, stood up the Lake Orion back and dropped him for no gain. So it's 3rd and 7 from the 37, 3:30 left here in the 3rd. Handoff to Matt Kraus, trying to get outside, got the first down and 5 more. First down Dragons at the 25-yard line of Clarkston. Same thing. They were looking jammed up the middle. Matt was able to break it outside.
Bounces to the outside, secures that football, gets the first down, and boy.
Keith Fields checks in for Logan Shadiah. 1st and 10 from the Clarkston 25. Horneffer calling the play at the line. Delayed handoff. And Keith Fields goes nowhere. Gets maybe a couple. So we'll call it 2nd and 8. Under 3 minutes left here in the third. Horneffer with a full house backfield behind him. Handoff. Serzo up the middle. I'm sorry. Keith Fields around the left side.
Yeah, Fields.
I keep watching Matt Krause. You expect him to go, and he hands to someone else.
Fields cuts back right about now, right into Dane Rogers' tackle in his arms for about a 1-yard gain. Brings up a 3rd and long once again for the Dragons.
3rd and 9 from the 24. Horneffer back to, he's going to run it. He's got room. Cuts it upfield. He's going to be close to the first down.
Yeah, that's a called QB run all the way. There's no question about that. He's tucking it early enough. He sees that gap. He sees that opening. All right, nice, makes a nice cut. Serves a nice job downfield.
And he's going to be about a half a football short of a first down. Matt Krause didn't get it. Did not get it. He was stoned. Number 43, Joe Pop was in on it, and a host of others. One of the Clarkston linemen, number 51, Ross Manser, coming off a little slow. So Clarkston takes over 1st and 10 from their own 17-yard line. 1:22 left here in the third.
Yeah, that says a lot right there. You're 4th and short. You give the ball to your best back, and your job is to win your one-on-one battles. And when it's all said and done, Clarkston won their one-on-one battles in the key time, in a crucial time.
And he was stacked up. He had 3 guys brought him down. Zazula in the gun. Hands off on the right side. Number 6, Centrus Williams, for a gain of about 6.
One of the few times tonight we've seen Clarkston with a tight end actually in the game, number 81. Mitch Heaton lined up at a tight end position.
So 2nd and 5 from the 22. Double wide to the left. Backs in an offset eye. Zazula rolling left, looking, throws. Got the first down. Number 21, Shane Holler on the reception. Another first down for Clarkston. And same thing, he went out, ran that outside curl, and he had 2 yards between him and number 30, Nick Rose. So 1st and 10 from Clarkston from the 31. Trips to the right. Williams alone back in the backfield. He shifts over to Zazula's right side. Complete. Out to number 18. Austin Egler, and he scores.
Well, 3rd time tonight they've run a bubble screen. They've run it to 3 different individuals. 2 of these bubble screens have been touchdowns, this one being the biggest.
Broke 1 tackle. Jalen Wiggins just never had a shot at him.
Well, you know, it's all said and done. The ability to take the right angles to get to the ball carrier, the wideout in this case, are key. But you just see a situation there where Egler's just got the size, he's got the speed. You get athletes in open space, and they do their thing. And as a result, Clarkston goes up by 5 scores.
Joe Pop will hold. Hessman, kick is up. Kick is good. Let's go down the sidelines to Kevin McCormick. Kev?
Guys, injury update on number 56, Austin Jones. It looks like it's his right knee. They're working on his right knee on the sideline. It looks serious. He's pretty devastated. So I don't think you'll see him back in the game.
Thanks, Kev. And with that, now going in, that was the last play of the third quarter with the score 42-7. So starting the fourth quarter, we will be in the point differential rule. We'll explain it once again. The point differential rule says that when the point differential is 35 points or more, we are under a running clock. The only time the clock will stop is for penalties, injuries, timeouts, or a score. It's the second time this year, at least in our home games, that Lake Orion's had the running clock put against them. We're not used to that. Most of the time, we're used to it going the other way. So the Dragons will receive. Kessman will kick off. Jalen Wiggins going deep along with Surzo. Keith Fields coming back on the near side as a deep man. Jalen Wiggins deep on the far side. Kessman approaches, puts a foot into it. End over end kick into the end zone. Dragons will take over 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line.
Well, you said it. You know, we're not used to seeing this point differential be against Lake Orion like we have the last 2 games that we've conducted here, broadcast here at home. You know, this is one of those seasons right now, you know, certainly there's still another quarter left and another game left to play. And so I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but this has certainly been a challenging year. I'm sure a frustrating year for all involved in the program. And it is uncharacteristic of what we've been used to for the last 13 years here in Lake Orion. So, you know, when it's all said and done, the ability to learn from this and get better from this is what I know the coaching staff will do.
Costas, hands off. Number 3, Keith Fields, up, good run, up over the 40 to the 41-yard line.
You know, the ability to take these opportunities, as painful as they are, and utilize them as a teaching moment is what needs to be focused on from this point forward. Nice hold by the line, nice open field run by Keith Fields, and Lake Orion's got the ball at the 42-yard line.
1st and 10. Fields a lone setback. Surzo in motion. Fields again up the middle, and he's spun down. Number 34, Kez Whitekus on the tackle for Clarkston. And yeah, you know, Chris, the JV and the freshman teams were both very strong this year, so there is hope for next year. And you know what? It happens. I was looking through the results of this series, and Clarkston's come in years where they've been 2-6. You know, so yeah, it happens. It happens to all programs. Lake Orion's been very fortunate as Fields gains another 2. Lake Orion's been very fortunate that just, you know, it's been a string of 13 straight years
You're right. Here's the encouraging thing. We've talked about this quite often in the past. Is you look down there on the field, and you see 11 out of the field, but then you see 70 plus on the sideline. So there's guys to work with, and there's depth there, and all those things combined, and the ability to build it from that youth level on up is really what has made Lake Orion for so strong for so long.
Wake has brought down Keith Fields. So again, it's another 4th down, and the Dragons will go for it.
And we've talked about this before too. There's programs around the state that have enrollments the same size or right around that same size as Lake Orion, yet they don't have the numbers coming out for football. And it's a tribute to what the staff does, the community has done in helping support Lake Orion football. That there's this many kids that come out for the game.
Costa's pass is complete to number 84, Ryan Wood, for a 1st down for the Dragons. And, certainly not to single them out, but I look at Royal Oak. Royal Oak has a good-sized student body, and they have not been able to put a program together there. Costas on the handoff to Fields. And he's up close to the 40-yard line. They're marking him down just shy of the 39. That was number 1, who I don't have on my program. We are going to have to talk to Coach Jennings about that so we can get updated rosters.
I'm sure he's had some call-ups over the last couple days. I see some kids down there with no nameplates on the backs of their jerseys, and like you said, those injuries sure had something to do with it.
Costas back to throw, looks, throws, dropped by Serzo. He threw it in a crowd.
Yeah, a little curl route by Serzo, and number 10, Hayden Shaner, was there to knock it down.
So that brings up 3rd down and 7 from the Clarkston 41-yard line. Number 31, Nick Stallworth, also in on the coverage for Clarkston.
I mean, certainly both teams are getting their 2nd and 3rd string players in, and certainly, as we've talked about before, this is a benefit to them in terms of experience and getting on the field and understanding game situations, understanding this rivalry, even though tonight's the game hasn't been much of one.
Costas rolling, looks, throws, caught, minimal gain. Number 44, Jake Thebe, in on with the catch for the Dragons. And again, now we've got 4th down and 5 from the 40, gain of maybe 1 yard. Tyler Barkley checks in at a wide receiver spot. Jalen Wiggins comes in, splits to the right. Zach Serzo in a slot right. Keith Fields in a slot left. Number 1, whoever he is the running back. Cameron Costas throws short. Tried to lead him a little too much and was actually going backwards as he let go of the ball. And the ball fell short, so Clarkston will take over. 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line. 6:30 and counting left in the game.
Yeah, Barkley certainly had inside position on that slant route, and it just like you said, quarterbacks you got to get your feet set and they'd be able to throw that ball. There's very few guys that cannot have their feet set and be able to gunsling it out there, and as a result, because the feet weren't set, ball's thrown in the dirt. Turnover on downs, Clarkston's ball.
So 1st and 10 for Clarkston. They're still running double wide, double slot look. Number 2, Brandon Addy, is the running back. And number 12, who I don't have on my roster, is the quarterback. Is that 12 or 19? 19. Number 19 is Anthony Reiner, is now the quarterback.
Tried a little zone read there and a little I don't know if it was miscommunication or not, or maybe just tempo and not having worked with each other all that often. But the ball ends up on the hip of Vadas, ends up on the ground, and he falls on it.
So 2nd and 13. Handoff, again, number 2, Brandon Addis, and he stopped for no gain. Number 87, Chad Cruiser, in for the Dragons. So that'll bring up 3rd down and 13 from the 39, 5 minutes left in the game.
5 minutes left in the game, and yet you know, down 5 scores, running clock, and you know what? There's still an opportunity next week.
There certainly is.
Yeah, there's still an opportunity next week, and
number 2, Addis, he's going to be short of the 1st down. It'll be 4th and 2 from the 48-yard line. And as we talked about in pregame, there's a log jam in the white division between Harrison, Southfield, and who else? There was someone else in there. But Southfield's had a good year. You know, Harrison they're traditionally always good. So 4th and 2, and Clarkston's going to punt. Number 9, Cassim, is in to punt. Wobbly end over end punt goes out near our sideline reporter Kevin McCormick and our sideline cameraman Joe Johnson. They're going to mark it out at the 25-yard line, and the Dragons will take over. 1st and 10, 3:19 left in the game and counting.
So yeah, you said there's a log jam at the White, and Lake Orion will be on the road next week to against yet to be determined.
Be determined.
You know, and there's a chance. I mean, there's a small chance that there's going to be a fairly large number of 5 and 4 teams that make the playoffs this year.
Well, Stony Creek is at West Bloomfield tonight. So from what we've seen of West Bloomfield, Stony Creek will probably stay where they are in 4th place in the division. Number 1, whoever he is, I'm trying to pick up Roger Smith on the call.
Nice hold, nice block downfield by number 85, Andrew Oddish. Lake Orion gets into Clarkston territory, 1st and 10 at the 48.
I keep looking like maybe a number 1 will appear on my roster, but I keep looking at it long enough.
Well, he appeared on the field there. Nice run.
Great run. So it's 1st and 10 for the Dragons from the Clarkston 48. 2 minutes left in the game. He goes again, gets a gain of about 6.
Small, compact, good body lean. You know, it's hard to see a back like that.
And number 87, Bobby Dixon for Clarkston, carried him, is about twice his size, and he carried him for 3 yards. So 2nd down and 5. Number 35, Lawan Bronner on the carry. He's got a 1st down. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Dragons. About 1:15 left in the game.
Just run that little jet sweep to the left and did a nice job of, Bronner did a nice job of following Nick Novak's block to the outside. Gets the 1st down for the Dragons.
Good job keeping his balance after his initial hit, too. So double wide, double slot look for the Dragons. Number 1, unknown player, gets the ball, gets maybe 2 yards. Terrence Buggs.
In at quarterback right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Terrence Buggs in at quarterback. 6'1", 140 junior. Handoff to Bronner again. He's got a first down for the Dragons. And that may do it. 10 seconds left in the game. Not the way I'm sure that Coach Bell would have envisioned it at the start. But their final score, Clarkston 42, Lake Orion 7. You're watching exclusive coverage of Lake Orion Dragon football here on Orion Neighborhood Television. We'll be right back.
I need help.
We can't survive without heat and water.
Oakland County Community Resource Day, November 19th.
I'm homeless.
How do I get health insurance?
I'm getting evicted.
Stay safe this winter. For help with housing, state IDs, eviction, and other critical issues, come to the Oakland County Community Resource Day. There is help.
Down on the field after the Lake Orion Dragons lose to the Clarkston Wolves 42-7. And Chris, we were talking, it's one thing to lose, but to lose to your crosstown rival makes it more of a bitter pill. And at the same time, you can see why Clarkston's a defending state champion and why they're number 2 in the state going into week 9.
Yeah, I mean, 21 games in a row. That's unheard of unless you're talking to a school up the road like at Ithaca. But it's all said and done. They've got the talent on both sides of the football. They've got the athletes. They've got a quarterback that knows how to run an offense. They can spread you out. They can run you in tight. And when it's all said and done, they're making plays and they're winning their one-on-one battles. And you know, when it's all said and done too. Clarkston was flat out the better football team, and they have been for the last, unfortunately, 4 years for the Dragons. So it was frustrating, no question. Every game's frustrating when you lose. Every game's even more frustrating when you lose to your arch rival. But you know what? Lake Orion will find a way to as they always do, to turn around and again, like we talked about, learn from this experience. And whether it's getting kids more experience, whether it's tweaking things, the way they run things, or way they operate, or they'll sit back and reevaluate how things need to go moving forward. And you know, when it's all said and done too, got to have the players, you got to have the talent, you got to have to be able to go on, win your division, and go on into the playoffs. And certainly Clarkston has that talent.
During pregame, we said, is this a do-or-die game for Lake Orion? And really, it puts the emphasis on next week in the crossover, because that is going to be the do-or-die game for Lake Orion, or whether they can make the playoffs, even with an outside chance at 5-4.
Right, it's going to be very tough, like we talked about. You know, the teams that they have beaten at this point in time don't give them a lot of playoff points. I think right around 55 playoff points. The teams they've beaten have a combined record of 7-21. So it's going to be difficult in that Division I with a lot of teams up there. And you know what? When it's all said and done, too, there's a lot of good football at Division I this year, and it's going to be difficult to get in there. But you know, whoever they play, you know, one of the things that Lake Orion's going to take pride in is that they want to continuously have a winning season, and they can do that next week. They haven't had a losing season in a long time, and the ability to come out in 5-4 and win your last game of the season is something you always want to strive for.
Looking back, the players and coaches meeting is just breaking up. We're hoping we can get Coach Bell over here before it ends, but Yeah, Coach Bell's working his way over, but how much did the 3 home games hurt the Dragons this year?
Yeah, I don't know that it meant a lot. Certainly, they played some tough football teams, Clarkston and West Bloomfield here at home, and what can you say about them? I think home or away, I think it was pretty evident who was going to win those games.
Coach Bell's coming in now. Coach, thanks for taking the time with us.
No problem.
I guess to say disappointing would be the understatement of 2014.
Yeah, you know what, especially the way we started. We started fast, and we made some plays, and we felt like we could run the ball. And we, for the most part, I thought we did a decent job running the ball inside. It's just, we're struggling to throw the ball right now, and then we'd get ourselves in a long area situation. Errors that I felt were, it's a penalty, or we had a collision there on an off-tackle play, or a blown assignment, just dumb things. And against that team, you can't do it. And they're loading the box. We knew they load the box. Our game plan was to run the ball, control the clock, keep our defense off the field the best that we could, and we couldn't sustain drives. And we put something together, we just couldn't finish them.
Switching your quarterbacks, Max to Cam to Max, Max in on what seemed to be obvious passing situations, seemed to work, but again, it's trying to get those third and medium situations converted. Yeah,
Max brings some stuff with his feet. He makes some plays on the run. And Cam generally, being the senior, understands the offense a little bit more. And they've both been steady all year. Neither of them have been great. Neither of them have been bad. I mean, they've been steady, and they're doing the best that they can, and they compete every week. So our goal is just to get better and go down to Rochester Adams and finish this regular season 5-4, and hope that's going to be enough.
Yeah, talk about how you prepare for the unknown next week. You got Rochester Adams, but when it's all said and done, 4-4, 5-4. Do you make it? Do you look at all those playoff points, or do you not worry about it and just work on what you can focus on here on the field?
Yeah, you know what? I don't never look at anything unless I don't look at paper. I don't look at anything until I know that we're in. But I got my staff that does, and you know what? Obviously we can't control it. We're looking at it as our playoffs start next week, as will Rochester Adams. Both teams will be 4-4. If whoever gets that win is going to get 4 bonus points, and we think it might be enough to put us in. If it's not, then shame on us, because we have some winnable games at the beginning of the season. We let it get away from us. But our goal is to go out and just play well week 9. Play well. We're treating it as a playoff start now for us. It's win or go home. I'm proud of our kids that after a tough start, they put themselves in position to play some meaningful games. So it's going to be a playoff mentality for both teams, and if we can win, we're hoping that's enough to get us in.
I was looking before the game today. This year's freshman team has never known a time where Lake Orion has not made the state playoffs. I know that doesn't mean you're just worried about today and now. Is the streak important to you? Is the streak matter?
No, it's always been a thing of pride, but the only thing that matters to me are these kids and this team. That's it. I want success for them because I know the work that they put in. And regardless of the outcome, whether we get in, whether we win next week or lose next week, I'm so proud of these kids because I know how hard they work and they're doing everything the right way. So, if we don't get in, as long as we're doing the best that we can, that's all I can ask of the kids, and we'll be happy.
Coach, the print media is waiting. Thanks for the time.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris. That'll wrap it up from the field with Chris Fritching. I'm Doug Corliss. Once again, the final score was Clarkston 42, Lake Orion 7. For our producer, director, Joe Velez, and our entire Orion Neighborhood Television crew, with thanks again to Coach Bell. Thank you for watching during this season. It would be nice to say that we may have a playoff game, but we may not. Thank you for watching. Good night, everyone.